The Perimeter is brought to you in partnership with Speak Studios. Speak Studios. Speak and be heard. The Perimeter with Adam Morrison is brought to you by our official title sponsor, Mercedes-Benz of Spokane. Experience the best or nothing at Mercedes-Benz of Spokane with Dan Crowley and his exceptional team. They're located in beautiful Liberty Lake and his local family-owned dealership under Gee Automotive. Their staff prides itself on a personable and memorable experience from service to sales and will have you leaving the dealership feeling satisfied with a smile on your face all the way down the road. Back-to-back winners of the Best Civil Laurel Award receive invoice pricing on any new Mercedes-Benz in stock when you come in and mention the Perimeter podcast. You can check out all their available inventory at SpokaneMercedes.com, as well as stay up to date on all things Mercedes-Benz via their Facebook and Instagram pages. Call them at 509-455-9100 to schedule your Mercedes test drive today. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Perimeter Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Morrison. Today's guest is Chris Haynes, Yahoo Sports senior writer, TNT sideline reporter. Hosted up with Chris Haynes podcast. Thanks for coming on, man.
Man, Adam, man. First of all, I know your guest list. You probably run a little bit low for you to call me, man.
Stop.
You had to run. You must have got a bunch of rejections, man.
No.
Before you went and called, man.
No, you're one of the first ones I thought about because obviously I like the NBA content.
All right,
okay, you've always been so good to me. So again, I know you're on a busy schedule. To give a little backdrop, Chris is doing sideline for TNT right now. He's doing the Lakers. Suns just got back from Phoenix and here in LA, so he's taking time out of his busy schedule. We appreciate it. I usually start the show with the non-Gonzaga people of kind of how we met.
Okay.
You know, how I'm connected to people. When was that? 2011, 12?
That would be the 2011-12 season.
Okay, so 2011-12, I'm on my last leg trying out for the Portland Trailblazers. Mm-hmm. Chris is it's Comcast Sportsnet, right?
Yeah, Comcast Sportsnet Northwest, my first year.
Okay, so we'll get into your career before that, but that's how we first met. Uh-huh. And I remember you'd meet me after practices and stuff like that. And this is when there was 18-man rosters and trying to make the squad, so I was still on the bubble to make the team preseason. And you begged me to do an interview.
Pleaded,
yeah. And I fucking turned you down every single time.
Every time.
So that's why it's always funny. I always like, why is this guy still nice to me, man? Because you see your rise from it now. It's so funny because it's like, this guy shouldn't even pick up my phone call from now on, the status you're at right now as far as NBA writer and stuff. But so that's how we first met. And then I got to tell the COVID story. The second time. Mm-hmm. So, everybody knows on the show that I call games for Gonzaga. We get done. It's West Coast Conference 2 years ago. No, a year ago. Yeah, year and change. And we land. They just announced that the NCAA is done. And so we were supposed to have one of the sites was in Spokane, so we were going to have the number 1 seed, 30-2 that year, and play in Spokane. So everybody's fucking pissed on the plane. So I'm wearing gloves.
Yeah.
I'm freaking out. This is the start of COVID, like the very, very start. And you run it. What airport was that?
San Jose.
San Jose. So we run into each other, and it was one of those like, hey, I want to say what up, but we were like,
hold on. That's what you were. So
it was me.
Yeah, it didn't hit me like I didn't understand the magnitude still at that point.
Yeah.
And so I had just left from doing. It was Spurs, Mavericks sideline for TNT.
Okay.
So that's where I was coming from. And that was the first game that we had to do our interviews from 6 feet distance.
Mm-hmm.
So it was starting to hit.
Yeah.
And so then the next morning I traveled back, going back home because I was based in near San Jose area at that time. And so I run into you. I haven't seen you.
It was years.
I want to say since 2011.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
And so I'm happy to see you.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then so I'm coming in for like the bro, the dap and and then you like, hold on, bro. You did.
No.
Adam, you did. I swear.
No, I at least gave you one.
You gave me a little bit, but it was awkward. It was awkward as hell. It was awkward as hell. That's the point. But that was when And you had gloves on and shit.
I had gloves and shit. I was scared as fuck.
That was when I knew. I'm like, damn, this is real.
Yeah.
And then I knew your health situation.
Which I appreciate that you knew that. Yeah, type 1 diabetic.
And so I was like, okay, all right. So, but that was, to me, even still to this day, when people ask me, like, when did I come to the realization that this was like really a legit concern situation? And I go back to when I met Adam. I see his reaction.
Yeah, it was wild. But like I said, we first met working out with the Portland Trailblazers. Obviously, you were a beat writer then, and then we just randomly ran into each other, and it was kind of cool. But it was a weird situation because when COVID first started, it felt like Ebola. Like everybody's fucking, holy shit. Obviously, it's serious, but at the start, everybody's fear level was to the 10th degree, and rightfully so. So. Yeah, man. So, again, I appreciate you taking your time. We're here in L.A. in your hotel room. So, it worked out, man. We travel. We travel for the Perimeter Podcast.
Y'all, you know what I'm saying? Time, man. That's why I said, I'm like, hold on. You came all the way to L.A.
Yeah, you asked me, like, what else are you doing? I'm like, nah, I was coming to see your ass. Like, that's what the fuck I was doing. Like, what shit?
Golly. People throwing away money nowadays, man.
No. So, anyway, all right. So... with all my guests, I like to kind of get into kind of your story because I think your story is fascinating. From your start, from where you went to college, and then your rise to where you are now as a Yahoo senior sports writer. So you grew up in Fresno, graduated in 1999, am I correct?
High school, yep.
Okay. 99. And then you went and played hoop at Fresno Pacific
University. Correct.
Okay. Were you like a scorer? What kind of player were you? Just real quick.
I'm 6'2", and so... Nowadays, you can be a 6'2" shooting guard.
It's true.
You couldn't be a 6'2" shooting guard then. At college level, maybe. So my coach would get on me. So I had a little story. I'll make it quick, but
take all the time you want, man.
They gave me a full scholarship, basketball scholarship, Fresno Pacific University, and my coach, which name was Clark Shehigh at the time. He made me. Well, he didn't make me. He urged me every day after practice working the handles. My game, I had hops. Like I was a 2-foot dunker.
Yeah.
Smashing with 2 hands, cocking the back. That was my game. Streaky shooter. But he was like, Chris, if you want to play, you have to work in your handle. We got it. You need some ball handles.
Secondary ball handler. Yeah.
And Adam, my mindset then, I was like, but I'm better than all the guards you have here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, my dribbling is not up to par, and I was not comfortable bringing the ball up, especially being pressured full court.
Okay.
But once somebody else got that ball up court,
throw me the ball.
Throw me the ball. Let me
slasher?
Go. I was a slasher, and I was a guy I caught it in the triple threat, and I had a quick first step, and I could, you know what I mean. But I wasn't all doing all that with the handles, and so he would make me stay 15 minutes after practice every day, just do ball handling drills. And I kid you not, like I would bullshit the drills. I would do maybe 9 minutes, 8 minutes, not really taking it seriously. And I did. And look, and I played there for a year only, and I got the second least burn on my team. And so here I am with the second least burn on the entire team, and I have a full scholarship. So as people young kids, they need to know when you're talking about getting full scholarships, those full scholarships aren't for your whole
4 years. Yeah, that's a great point.
It's
so true.
It's each year.
Yes.
And so,
make good every year.
Make good every year. So I had my meeting, my end of the season meeting with coach. He was like, look, man, you're a good player. I think you have good promise. You're good in the locker room with the guys. Everybody like you. We like you. But we can't give you a full scholarship next year.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, well, what can you give me? Because I kind of seen that coming.
Yeah.
It's like, we can give you, it was a partial, but it was like, we could give you like 5,000. Yeah, I'm like, 5,000 like each semester? Like, no. They were like 5,000 for the whole year. And Fresno Pacific University is a private university.
Yeah, so it ain't cheap.
So I stopped. That's when I stopped playing ball. I transferred to Fresno State, graduated there. But I was, you asked what type of baller I was. That's what I was. I did not take heed and really try to work on my craft because I thought I was better than those guys anyways. And
Just real quick, do you have any regrets on that? Or just the lessons of the regrets of the lessons of some, authority figure that was trying to do you right and you didn't listen to him. Where you sit back there as a father, like, okay, I'm going to make sure my kids understand that.
I'm going to say that, yes, I do that. And one thing I always preach in my household, I got all daughters, is that compete at everything you do.
Yep.
Because, Adam, I got to say this. Adam, I have to say this.
Say it.
So my daughters, I love them, just as Jasmine. They're 18 and 17 now. But they've been around basketball their whole life because I've coached some ball. They've been around me playing. I had kids young. And so they, for some reason, wanted to get involved with playing basketball when they were freshmen and sophomore in high school. And so, hold on. So listen. So I think a lot of dads may be like, feel like, oh, okay, you're coming on. All right, feel proud.
Yeah.
I felt disrespected. I'm like, hold on. Do you understand the time and the effort it takes to actually become a good ball player? You think at high school you could just
turn it on?
Yeah. And Adam, I got so with me, I started liking basketball at 8th grade. I was a late bloomer, and I got cut my first 2 years in high school. And so I experienced that growing up, and then to be able to later on get a basketball scholarship.
Yeah, no, that's amazing.
Yeah, so that's why I don't have regrets, but I do. I handled that wrong in college because I came so far. And so I know what it takes to really play and compete and try to bust your butt. So they go to this school. They went to this high school where the team is used to losing 98% of their games.
Yeah.
And the coaches there play everybody.
Oh, you can't win doing that.
They play everybody.
Can't win playing everybody.
Play everybody.
Can't do it.
Well, first of all, they can't win with the talent they had anyway.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, but can't do it.
And so I told my daughters, I'm like, I got to talk to your coach. Like, no, Dad, don't talk. I'm like, no, listen. Sports is supposed to prepare you for the real life.
Yeah.
You can't have 15 players who can't play, right? And then you're just playing everybody.
The same amount, yeah.
Same amount. Because what is the second unit or the third unit? What are they going to compete for in practice?
Yeah, what's the point?
What's the point? Are they going to push themselves? They're not, because they know that they're going to play anyways.
Yeah,
that's not setting you up for a job. If there's 3 spots available at a prime job site, you're not just going to get it. You got to compete for those spots.
Absolutely.
And so I hate it. I hate when coaches do that. They play everybody. Nobody's learning anything.
Yeah.
You're not preparing them for the real world.
I coach my oldest daughter's team, and
you don't do that, do you?
Well, okay, let me clarify. Okay. So I had 11 at one time.
Okay.
And it was a group of 11 where we picked them off from 3 different teams. So it was the better girls. So we were extremely talented. So most of my girls would play 22 to 18 minutes. And lo and behold, I get, almost a mutiny happened about 2 weeks ago because of the playing time. And I said, what the fuck do you want me to do? But in their defense, and I said, hey, I hate platoon subbing. Yeah. I hate it. But at this level, you have to be able to, it's club ball. People are paying for this.
How old?
12, 13, like 7th grade.
All right, that's all right.
But also, like, I always sub late. 10 minutes, the last half of the second half, I'm subbing to win.
Got you. Yeah.
And so there might be times your daughter might not play a lot, and that happens with different groups.
That's fine.
But to do that in a high school level?
High school level, no.
Never.
High school level, no.
Never.
I have no problem with it, because that's still the developmental stage right there. And no.
Yeah.
I have
and it's club. People are paying for it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I have no issue with that. It's just in high school, when it's like everybody thinks they deserve something.
Oh, it's that I've coached at the high school level the last 3 years, 3 years, 2 years ago, so 3 years and 5 years, or whatever. The generation's different, and I'm only 36, and I'm sitting here like, these kids think they get everything handed to them. It's fucking crazy. And I've said this on previous shows, I'm like, I'm not a get off my lawn type of guy.
Yeah. Oh.
But I'm also like, not one of you kids has asked me to shoot after practice.
Yeah.
Or put in the extra time.
Yeah.
And then you want it to just happen. Or like, oh, my kid could be D1. I'm like, well, kid's averaging. He's a good player. He's averaging 14, but like a D1 player is like dominating the league, right?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
that's real.
It's different. So did your daughters become good players or
no.
what?
No, they were. I'm gonna be honest. They were one of the worst players on the team, and I wanted to tell the coach. My wife was like, "Nah, leave it alone." But I want to tell the coach, "Look, sit my girls."
If they're not doing the right thing,
they weren't. Nobody was, but I wanted to say, "Sit my girls," because I want because they all get embarrassed, when their peers coming and watching the game, seeing them getting blown out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, my daughters, because that's the only control I have. They need to be sitting on that bench, not playing in front of everybody.
Yeah.
And so they can have an urge or a desire to show up the next day of practice early.
Yeah.
Early.
That's your motivation.
And then that person that is playing more than them, they need to be going out and practice guarding them.
Yeah.
All on their hip from start to, that's what we did.
Yeah.
And another thing, Adam, this is another thing that gets on my nerves. Oh, Lord. I remind you, I got cut twice, freshman and sophomore year in high school. And when they put the teams out, the team list, they put the list out
in front of everybody.
In the school. 3 or 4 lists out around the campus. Names. You know how they did my daughters?
Text?
No. Every girl had a number that they only knew.
Oh shit.
So everybody was assigned a number.
Can't embarrass somebody. Can't do it. It's crazy. No, I feel you,
man.
man.
Listen. Having that list up there on the school, my name not being on there, I got talked about, I got killed, I got ripped. But look, while they were at practice those 2 years that I didn't make the team, man, I was making sure I was at practice. By my, going somewhere else. I was working my ass off.
Yeah.
Because I wanted, I wanted that journey. So they're not doing that, man. They're not setting our kids up for real life.
Well, sports provides that, obviously. That's
supposed to.
It's supposed to, yeah. It's supposed to provide you, real life applications that you can obviously use down the line. I've used it plenty of times in my life after basketball. Team building, listening to authority, the striving to get better, making sure you're better. All that stuff matters. And you can get those things in other activities. We're not just saying sports. But you have to have the embarrassment factor, or maybe embarrassment factor is not the right word, but the fear factor of not succeeding.
Fear factor, a humbling experience of knowing that you're not there yet. Okay, I got to
work.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
That's it.
So, well, I appreciate you sharing that stuff with us. So, going into your career, obviously we talked about your hoop career. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you went to Fresno State. You were majoring in was it PE?
Yeah, kinesiology to become a PE teacher.
Okay. When did you start sports writing? Because I most guys go for journalism or whatever. Like, did you in high school or even as a younger kid, did you always have this passion or this gift? Or did you all of a sudden say, hey, man, I think I can try this and then hone it? I just kind of want you to walk through like your genesis of a sports writer, especially in college.
I'll say this in college because I want to talk about my upbringing.
Okay, go ahead.
In college, I wanted to be a PE teacher. I wanted to be a part of basketball. Basketball was that was it.
Yeah.
I had dreams. I really didn't have NBA dreams, but I thought I would at least
getting a scholarship is a pretty good fucking.
But I thought I'd at least be able to go overseas somewhere.
Okay.
And play. And so that didn't happen. And I just wanted to be a part of basketball.
Yeah.
And so I figured, like, you remember growing up, PE teachers, right? PE teachers were also coaches, whatever, basketball coaches. But PE teachers, my PE teachers growing up, all they would do is like, it'd be, okay, this week we're basketball.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me balls and let you go.
Stand there,
that's it. It's soccer. Here, soccer ball, go play, leave you alone. I'm like, I could do that job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's what I plan to do. And the problem was, Adam, is that when I started, it's funny. When I declared for my degree, when I declared for my major, that's what I wanted to do. They was like, yeah, good, great. P is good, blah, blah, blah. And then like towards the end, when I was about to get my degree, we started getting word, schools are cutting out PE. Because if you see, PE teachers.
Like, holy shit.
Exactly. And so I'm seeing like the diminish in PE teachers in elementary and high school. Like, we used to have to take PE every year.
Yeah, I don't understand how that's not even a thing nowadays. We We gotta stop on that because I'll go on a fucking tangent, but totally agree. Okay, so anyway,
so then I'm getting the reality, like, because then your last year of school, you're supposed to be applying for jobs, and that would have been all good and dandy, but there were no jobs. Really, out there.
Well, there's no turnover in PE teachers. Like a guy gets a PE teacher job, you're holding that sucker for 30 years. Retire, see you guys, and peace, right?
So that realization is starting to kick in. And so, but anyways, my last semester, I was still going to go pursue the PE route. But I was going to have to move somewhere. But my last semester, I had to take a writing course. I needed a writing course. And Adam, I'm telling you, man, like when you talk about writing, I couldn't write the difference between there and they are and all of that stuff. I wasn't a writer. Like I wasn't. And so one thing that I do love is talking about history, reading about history, particularly African American history. And that was the course. That was an African American writing course that I had to take. And so it was just writing about
things you're interested in.
Yeah, that I was interested
in. Your culture,
Yeah. And I loved it. And I was getting good feedback from my teacher. He's like, man, you got some promise. I like the areas you were going at. We just need to tighten some things up. And so I was liking it. I was liking the writing process. And then I was like, again, I'm all about basketball. Then I'm like, I wonder if I could transfer this to writing about hoops.
Wow.
And so I would go home and watch games and then just write a story from my home, off of what I just saw. And I would send it to different publications like Slam Magazine and all these different sites. And they were like, you know what, you got promise. We can't pay you anything, but if you move to an NBA market, we can at least get you credentialed and get you published so we can get your name out there. And so when I was told that, that's when I was like, okay, because I was 27 at that time.
Okay.
I took the long route, college route, and I'm like, babe, like we've been in Fresno our whole lives. We got friends and family getting killed, doing the wrong stuff. Yeah. And do we want to stay in Fresno? Like this is a chance to like really step out and do something. We've been in Fresno our whole lives.
Yeah.
And so we gave it a shot. And so when I was thinking about where market I wanted to go to, LA was too big. I could not imagine coming here.
How could you afford it either?
Yeah, that too. Yeah, that too. But I just couldn't imagine just being in this market.
Yeah.
It's just too big.
Yeah.
Sacramento, I've been there before. I actually started junior college. My junior college career started there.
Okay.
And I didn't want to do it. So I picked Portland.
Yes.
And so I picked Portland. It wasn't too far that if I failed, I can come back. Because I really did think I was going to come back.
Well, it's a huge leap. And obviously you said you've never been a writer, and they just said, hey, like, just go there and don't get paid. So what time was it? 2010, 2011 you went to Portland?
2000, perfect, yes. 2010, 11 is when I went to Portland. And that was the lockout.
Okay, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
So, but for that whole year, I'm getting the interviews because a lot of former NBA players and current NBA players live in Portland. So I was able to reach out and find Channing Frye. He was around at that time. Who else? I caught B. Roy. And so anyways, I was making noise in that year of not getting paid. And so I couldn't find a job. PE teacher. I got my degree, can't find a job. So the only job I could find was to be a security guard at a high school. So I would work as a security guard in the morning, and then at night I would go to Blazer games. Yeah.
Okay.
And so that whole year, I just worked my tail off, and I was developing relationships and getting stories and getting scoops, and it was fun. That's working as security.
So how long were you doing that before you came on paid with Comcast? A year,
a whole year.
How was that? With the missus, like how did you sell that?
Yeah.
That's a fair question. I'm saying, right? Because it's like, hey, shit. This may work, but if it doesn't, we've all been in that spot.
You're right. And I had 3 daughters at that time.
Okay.
So she gave me a window. I want to say it was maybe a year window. She might have gave me 2, but I think it was a year. She was like, we were on welfare and stuff, so that's kind of how we were supplementing bills and getting food. But I think she gave me a little window. And I was just determined, Adam. Like, I was like really, and I'm gonna say, like, where I came from, man, I didn't see a lot of thriving black men. You know, not really in my, not legal successful black men.
Okay, I get where you're going.
Especially in my family. And so I wanted to,
that extra motivation of that.
Yeah, I wanted to make this right. I wanted to do something different. And that's why I was just such on the grind that year. Like, it was so stressful. I felt, Adam, that was one of the worst periods of my life. And I'm not trying to talk down on anybody who does security work, but you know, you always hear growing up, get a college degree. That'll earn you thousands more than a high school diploma.
Well,
and here I am, I got this degree and I can't find no damn job.
You can't find no job and you're dead.
Yeah, like, come on, like, man. So
I'm a conspiracy theorist, so don't get me started.
Believe me, I know we had some talks, some conversations.
Okay.
So, but you know, I worked my ass off, man, and for that whole year, and security games, and then Dwight James. I want to say in the middle of the year, so it's around July. Dwight James, who's a longtime sports columnist in Portland, still there. He was looking at me and he was like, "Man, I see something in you." And he's like, "Look, Comcast Sportsnet Northwest, which he worked for, he said they're going to be hiring a beat writer at the end of the year." And he said, "I'm gonna tell him to give you an interview." And I was like, "Cool." Then after that, Adam, the lockout happened.
Oh shit!
The lockout happened.
Thanks, universe. Like, holy shit, right?
Oh man, it was one thing after another. But long story short, lockout ended. They interviewed two local people who were established in the market already.
Yeah.
They both of them turned it down from what I understood. And they brought me in for the interview. And my wife told me, Adam, she was like, "Baby, if they make you an offer on the spot, don't accept it. Don't take it."
Shit.
She said, "Don't take it. Bring it home. We'll talk about it."
Yeah.
So I go there, and I didn't think they were going to offer me on the spot. I go there. They offered me the job on the spot. I said, "I'll take it." They said
you did the Cosmo Kramer with the coffee.
Hey, they said we're paying $30,000. I said, I'll take it.
Thank you.
I'll take it. Thank you. We're paying for all your travel and hotel.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Man, I was so happy and like, I was happy but scared at the same time, because I was scared because I had to go back to my wife.
Yeah.
I took it.
I got the job.
I took this job for $30,000. I have to be the lowest paid beat writer in the country at $30,000. But coming off of welfare, you know, not ever making that type of money, like that was significant.
And you took a chance, obviously.
That was significant for me, man. It was like, you're gonna do TV 3 or 4 times a week. I've never done TV.
Yeah.
You're gonna travel. I've never traveled, been on planes. I've never done all that stuff. And that's kind of I was thrust into it.
So I've always wondered, for beat writers. And you've moved past that, but we'll talk about a little bit some of your stops, but especially early, how did you gain the trust of guys? Because as a former player, and look, I'm not, Brandon Roy, Damian Lillard, higher level guys in that market. How did you gain their trust, Chris? Was it just because you always had good energy with me, and you could tell like you're a cool dude. Yeah, obviously we've stayed in touch, even though I don't play anymore. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But like. Because you guys have to be balanced in your reporting, but if you get on the bad side of certain guys, you could be shut out completely, and that's just killer to your business. Can you just go over as a writer and as somebody that's breaking into that? I've always wanted to know that. Like, how do you go about that? You just say be yourself, and like, hey, fuck it, if it works, it works, or are you like, hey man, I'm going to give you this. It's going to be beneficial to you as a player. But if I have to hammer you in a nice way, I have to do it as well. Can you just go over kind of your mindset on that? Yeah,
and LeBron James helped me out a little bit with that approach about hammering the players if you have to. But
okay.
So, but no, like when I go to Portland, I get the Portland gig, and you've seen it. I was the only person of color in that media market at the time.
Yep.
It's still at the time, and so I would see when media, you know how it is. When the locker room opens, media comes in. Mm-hmm. Most of the players tend to exit towards the treatment room.
Yeah.
And so, and then the few players that did hang around and stay at the locker room, I would just watch and observe, and I would watch how media members just go over and just shove a mic in their face.
Yeah, instead of giving you your personal space and respect to let me get fucking dressed or yes.
I seen that.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. And that guy who's doing that, and those individuals who's doing that, they've been in the media for 20 years.
20 years, yeah. It's like, where's your feel?
Yeah. And so I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, I don't want to be somebody that you look at and like, okay, let me get away from him. Mm-hmm. And so what I did was I'm like, yep, they're human beings. You know, you can't just walk up to somebody. And I think this is what it is. And I'm gonna go on a tangent about social media conduct later. But I think even for media members, looking at Adam Morrison, I mean, you could say you're not a high profile. You're a high profile player
in the Northwest too, for sure.
Yeah, no, but I'm just talking about in the NBA. Period. Mm-hmm. Adam Morrison, like, you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, and so you're a human being, but I think what media members do, they don't associate you to being a person, an individual. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, I not to cut you off, but I remember when you were trying to get me to do the story, to go back to that, we started the show, is you're like, hey man, I want to tell your story through your lens. And you were like one of the first guys that ever said that to me.
Is that right?
For real. Because at the time it was like, well, why aren't you, how come you're almost out the league? How come you're this and that? How come it didn't work out for you? That was always the undertone with certain guys. You were just like, hey man, I really hope you make this team. I think you can.
You should have.
I thought I played good enough at the time. I appreciate that. But it was refreshing because it was like, oh, this guy's like not an asshole. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Or there's not an angle to get a piece just to rip me and blah, blah, blah.
But what does that do? Like, even for the guys that do conduct their jobs in that way, what is the long-term game?
I know. That's why I'm asking you, the pro. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'll tell you the short-term game is just to do something just to be outlandish, to get some notoriety.
It takes and all that stuff.
That's it. But at the end of the day, like, I appreciate that this is my 10th year covering the league. And I'm getting to a point now where there are guys retiring, and I'm actually going to be at their Hall of Fame induction.
That's awesome. That's
I get to say, I get to say, like, I covered these guys. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's special to me. Relationships. It should be. You know? And so going back to you, is that you were a high profile player. I don't care what, didn't pan on the NBA or whatever. You were a high profile player. And my thing is, I wanted to do something different from everybody else. Like, I'm never coming in, like, I hate scrums. I hate doing the scrum interviews because I don't, everybody gets the same quotes. And so that's what I would look at, Adam, when I walk in the locker room. I would see everybody getting scrums. And so I'm like, okay, well, Nick Batum's over here and such over here. So let me talk. So the reason to answer your initial question is I shoot the shit with you. I remember we were talking about politics back in the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I want to get to know you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then at the same time, you get to know me. And then I think if we can establish, if it's not a friendship, just a respectable level of cordialness.
A respectable rapport and a professional relationship where, it's like, you're not going to stab me in the back, but I understand if you have to write your piece to write it as a professional.
And that's it. And if I do need some quotes on the side, you might be a little bit more forthcoming.
Absolutely.
Because there was something there.
Everybody puts up a wall with the media. I did it all the time. And it's always like, guys would bitch and moan. Like you said, they get the same quotes. It's like, well, you have the aura, the energy about you that the second you could take something out of context, you would do it. Yeah. You would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Just to sell more newspapers. This is the time before the social media stuff was there, but it's not as big as your brand now. And I'll talk about that a little bit later about branding as an individual sports writer. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate you sharing that because I've always wondered, especially starting out, you were new, okay? How do you build these rapports? And then I want to segue into, okay, you're with Portland for, was it 2011 to 14?
Correct.
Then you go to Cleveland,
yes.
Cleveland Plain Dealer.
Yep.
When you took that job, Did you know LeBron was coming back?
Of course. I'm not going to Cleveland.
Hey,
I'm not going to Cleveland. Come on, Adam.
Hey, I was talking to my producer. I said, I got to clarify this.
Oh, man.
Because, you never know. It could have been Cleveland mistake by the lake.
Yeah.
So I get that. But my point is, like, it could have been a level up in whatever, working for a news. I don't know the industry like that. But I'm saying, like, so when you knew he was coming back, it was like, this is a perfect opportunity for me to.
Exactly.
So how did you, to further on the rapport stuff, how did you get into his circle with, because his circle's tight.
Yeah. So, So, I think my last year covering the Blazers is when I realized I wanted to go national. Mm-hmm. Because I would see, I don't know if you saw the treatment as a player, but when you're a beat writer, a local beat writer,
you get bored?
Certain teams don't treat you the same way they would treat a national guy.
Okay.
So I would see national guys come into town, and I would see the GM just escort them all around the practice facility, getting them to areas that they would never take us because they have a bigger platform.
Yeah,
they're national, and I just wasn't getting the respect. And I'm like, I worked so hard. Like, I wasn't getting the stories I felt I should have gotten.
You deserved.
In Portland. And so I'm like, okay, I got to become national to get some respect. Mm-hmm. And so that last year, and I think for my company, they allowed me to expand out and start breaking news outside of the Trailblazers.
Oh, okay. So they gave you an opportunity.
Exactly. And so what I would do, Adam, is that, the same agents, the same teams, the same executives that I would call before and just ask nothing but Trailblazers questions. Mm-hmm. I would just now start asking about everybody else because I already had those relationships.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did with LeBron. I started breaking like LeBron news when I was in Portland.
Oh, okay. So you had a foresight.
Yeah, I had a foresight. Okay. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to say, I'll give you this, but Rich Paul, me and him cool, but he had represented Johnny Flynn.
Okay.
When Johnny Flynn was on his last
leg.
Yeah. Literally in Portland.
Okay.
So that's how me and Rich first got connected.
Yeah, no, it's a great lesson in relationships.
Yep.
Okay, I'll just say that.
Yep, for sure. And so LeBron announced he was going to Cleveland. Mm-hmm. About a month later, the Cleveland Plain Dealer newspaper released a lot of their sports staff. They wanted to start from scratch.
Oh, wow.
And I told my wife, I said, babe, I think this is it.
We got to do this.
She was like, Cleveland's not it.
You get your stocking cap and your galoshes out and you're ready to go.
She said, I already came here to Portland, let you work for free. You work. No, we're not doing that. And I was able to convince her again.
The right move.
Yeah.
So you were there for how long?
2 years.
2 years.
So I left after they won came back 3-1.
So
that was always, Adam, that was always the plan. I wanted to do 2 years. I wanted to step because I felt like when I was breaking news outside of Portland, while I was in Portland, I would look at this when Twitter started popping. I would look at writers in New York, Detroit, or whatever. Yeah. When I was breaking news on their beat, they would be like, "Who's this guy from Portland? You can't trust this guy from Portland. Who is he?" So I'm like, okay. So they're discrediting me because of where I'm at. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to a bigger, high profile beat.
Yeah. Now you gotta respect.
Now you gotta respect me, right? And then that'll lead to me getting my national gig, and that's exactly what happened.
What was so let's give context here. So you were in Cleveland for 2 years, the 3-1 comeback, and then you went to ESPN Warriors right after. Okay, so we're going to talk about the Warriors in a second, but I wanted you to answer this question, and I was thinking about this last couple of days. Both teams won championships. They played each other 4 straight times, correct?
Yep.
Okay. What was the vibe?
I think it was 5 straight times.
5 times.
Yeah.
What was the vibe like, organization to organization, compared to the Warriors to Cleveland, as far as the amount of pressure that was perceived, all that stuff? Because I played in LA, and obviously I was lucky enough to be in a locker room with 2 championships. Okay. And the vibe is always different when you're just around other organizations who are successful trying to winning. Yep. Like, what was it like? Because I always felt like those Cleveland teams, the pressure was so much more. It seemed like so much more. Am I wrong?
You're 100% correct.
Okay, because I just from afar, you're like, it seems like, the Warriors are playing with so much joy, even though they're defending champs and all that stuff. So, like, what was that like being around? Because you went from one team to the next consecutive years,
and I didn't want to do that. Like, I didn't want to go.
Well, didn't Draymond Green say something?
Yeah, he called me when I took the job that I didn't want to take, but it's ESPN. I was like, all right,
you got to take it, yeah.
And so Draymond's like, "Are you coming over here to spy? You spying for the Cavs? You spying for LeBron?" And I thought he was playing at first. I laughed it off, and he had a deadpan expression on his face.
Wow.
I'm like, well, what? That was one. Even though I'm a beat writer. Period. Like I don't root for. Even though I don't root for the Blazers. I don't root for the Cavs. I didn't root for the Warriors. That's not what I do. Yeah. But they know how close I was with LeBron and everything.
He's got to trust you if you're going to be in that circle.
I mean, but James. But I try to be a trusted individual to everybody.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I get what you're saying. Yes.
And so, but no, that's why I didn't want to take that, and I didn't want to take the job. But it's night and day. Like, so when you got Cleveland, everybody's on pins and needles because LeBron.
Yes.
Like, so I remember when I was in Cleveland, man, you can look it up. Like that first year, they were making so many trades and moves. It was like there was always this pressure, this
overthinking the room a little bit.
It was just a lot going on. It's like because LeBron's coming over here,
came back.
We gotta coming back. We gotta get like there was just so much pressure to get it right now.
Well, they got a window. And they were lucky that he came back, honestly.
And it's just like LeBron applies pressure. Period. Yeah. He applies pressure. You know, he's not that guy who's take Damian Lillard in Portland.
Okay.
Damian Lillard is pretty much hands off. He'll talk and give his opinion to management about what team play, but he's not applying pressure. LeBron you can say LeBron meddles and picks his own team.
I don't think he does that. He has some say. Well, you know better than I do.
Yeah. He has some say, but the thing is that he's going to demand, like, he got ticked off. I forgot what year that was in Miami, but at a certain point, like, the Heat made a move that he didn't like, and the reason they made that move was to get under the luxury tax.
Oh, well.
And he was like, what the? Hold on.
How much money I'm bringing into your ass.
What I'm bringing in, like, and I'm trying to win now. Like, he don't give a damn about no luxury tax.
Yeah,
like you do what you like.
You own Carnival Cruise Line.
Yeah,
fucker. Just raise the price for the fucking buffet line or some shit.
And so you deal with all that when you get LeBron. But on the upside, the good side about it, the good thing about it is he's going to perform. Yeah. He's going to be durable. He's going to play. He's going to always put you in position to compete for titles. Golden State, just like you said, everybody is happy, go lucky. It's night and day, man. It's pressure, but
of course there's pressure, but it was night and day.
Nah, it's night and day.
Really,
night and day.
What was it like, kind of being around that? Because I think as an NBA guy, and obviously you know the game, I think LeBron is one of the greats of all time, and I hate the Jordan-LeBron debate because I don't want to get into it because it's, to me, it turns into, I used to hear the fucking Lil Wayne or Jay-Z argument in the locker room. It's kind of opinion at this point.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you can always make it a fair, logical argument for each guy.
Yeah.
So it's just like you're beating your head against the wall. Is Steph changed the game more than anybody in the last 30 years. Do you agree with that? As far as the way the game is played now, LeBron's fantastic, and I don't want this to get fucking clipped or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think Steph is like, everybody's shooting threes now. Yeah. Everybody can shoot. Not everybody, but everybody's going to start being able to shoot 30-footers in 10 years because the people are going to practice it.
Yeah.
So watching him and being around him, do you think he's changed the way not just NBA basketball, but basketball in a whole is played more than anybody player since Jordan and then like Wilt?
Yeah. I mean, and you take like Jordan and LeBron, and you may disagree with me on this, but like Steph changed the game of the NBA, college, high school period, just the way you think and look at the game. Yeah. That 3-point ball is a really potent weapon. And I had Kareem. Was it Kareem? Yeah, I had Kareem on my. No, it was Dr. J. I had both of them on recently, but I'm trying to think who told me. But I believe it was Dr. J. He said when the 3-point ball first came, that was a tool used mostly at the end of games for teams that were down
to try to come back.
Yeah, to try to come back. Mm-hmm. That was it. And so they had that weapon there, but it wasn't used in the first 3 quarters.
Well, nobody practiced that.
Yeah, anyway. Practice it. Yeah. And so with Jordan and LeBron, those are arguably the greatest players to ever play the game. But you can't duplicate what they do. Nobody can duplicate what they do.
No.
So they didn't really change the game. They're just special talents.
That's a good
what
point.
Steph did with the 3-point weapon, expand. He's kind of started the pace and space that we have in the league right now. And so I mean, I don't see I'm trying to think who's changed the game more than Steph.
I think Steph's the one.
Yeah,
and the reason I asked you is because you've obviously covered both and had up close beat writer for both of them. And when everybody gets to the Jordan and LeBron argument, I'm like, well, to me, LeBron's more like Magic. He can do more things as a greater whole than Jordan. Jordan was a better scorer, better killer, all that stuff.
Yeah,
but it's just like I said, you're beating your head against the wall.
Yeah, and it's to when people that argue about that, mostly the people that you tend to grew up watching, you're going to favor them.
I grew up. I'm 36, so I was Bulls era. So.
I'm Jordan. I still say Jordan.
It's Jordan.
Yeah,
and especially with the Last Dance coming out, I'm like, oh, that kind of solidified it for me. But also, I sit there and I'm like, there's just a parade of hate for LeBron now, and I kind of scoff at him. Like, the guy has played for 17 years. He's unbelievable.
Yeah,
durable, wins, blah blah blah. I mean, like I said, it turns in the argument where it's Led Zeppelin or the Beatles or whatever, and you're just like, dude, I can make a fair argument for each of them.
Each of them, yeah.
And they're fair.
Yeah.
So you go from being a straight beat writer, and so your goal was always like this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Yahoo comes calling, right?
So my contract is up and I have to credit ESPN because even though I went over there, they knew I was reluctant to take the job. But they was like, look, you can cover the Warriors, but you can still break NBA news outside,
That's
other
cool.
teams.
They give you that freedom.
And you can and they started allowing me to do like sit downs with players from other teams.
Yeah.
And, their show on SportsCenter. So that was big to me. And so I loved it. And so my goal was never to stay on the Warriors. But my contract was up after the second year. And they wanted to resign me. They offered me a 3-year deal. Guess what? To cover the Warriors again. Same role. And they tried to
sweeten the pot a little bit
up by basically just saying you could do the same thing. We'll refer to you as an NBA writer. When you come on TV. But I'm like, yeah, but I'm traveling with the Warriors all the time.
Yeah, you're a beat writer still.
That's not happening. So they didn't budge. That was it. Yahoo called and was like, I definitely like what they offered from a compensation package. I definitely liked it. National, got my podcast. And I was able to bring some other writers along with me. And in this industry, it's rare that a black man gets to bring on
full control too.
Yeah. I don't have full, but
but your voice is heard.
Yeah. And I was able to bring on 2 people who I respected and admired their work, bring them on, and I would, so it was no brainer.
Absolutely.
And you know who broke that news of me going to Yahoo?
No.
Damian Lillard.
Wow, that's so it just roles reverse. So that's cool.
He said sources.
Is he the best? Okay, let's go real quick on Damian. So, congratulations on where you're at now. But
thank you, bro.
Just going from, you explain your story to having no writing ability. You take one class your senior year, it pops, and then just the trajectory upward. So fantastic. That's why I wanted you on to tell that story because I think it's fascinating. Kind of just like I believe in cause and effect. Like, what if you don't take that writing class? You know what I'm saying? And then what if the professor doesn't notice your acumen in writing? You know what I mean? You can just go down the line and then you don't grind your ass off in Portland, the guy from Comcast. You know what I'm saying?
I don't.
And it's crazy how things work out that way, and you get opportunities and you make the most of it. And that's kind of what I'm leading to. So congrats on that, obviously. But here's just a side thing with Damian Lillard. Is he the best basketball rapper of all time?
Yes.
What about Shaq?
Without question. Shaq's up there.
Shaq has like a platinum album.
He does, but we're talking
like lyricists and all that stuff.
Yeah, we're talking lyricists, freestyle. I'm talking about the whole package.
Yeah.
Shaq is the best selling rapper of all time.
Okay.
That doesn't mean he's the best.
Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, again, you can go, what's your metric then on success?
I mean, but look.
Our best.
Yeah, Shaq had Biggie on his album.
Yes.
I mean, you're going to sell. you got big. You know what I'm saying? Like
what was it? Shoot Past Slam. Yeah. What was the what was the songs on there?
I don't even remember. I don't remember.
I still got. I
he has some. He has some good production. There's some good beats, and I think Shaq had a few club beats. Like Dame don't really have.
He's a lyricist.
Yeah, he's a lyricist.
Yeah, he's good. I'm just wondering, like, what you thought.
He's your basketball's Nas.
Yeah,
you know.
that's a good comparison.
Yeah,
as the rap goes.
Yeah, but no, he got some stuff coming out. Because I told him, man, it's time to hit the club up. Time to make.
Yeah, no, that. Yeah, you gotta. In my opinion, obviously, I'm not a producer or anything of music, but you gotta have like the dance songs. And
yeah, the radio.
Yeah,
what
you gotta
have radio.
Yeah, you gotta have radio or stream song or whatever. So. All right, I want to talk a little bit about the state of the NBA for you as who covers it. Do you think, like the 3-point line, we were talking about Steph a little bit earlier. Do you think that stuff's good for the game, that there's kind of no back to the basket guys anymore? Do you think that'll ever come back? Because we're old, we're quote unquote old school basketball, and I like it to a certain degree, but then I go watch high school games. I coach, like I said, my daughter's team. And kids are just chucking up horseshit threes. Yeah. And it's like, hey, the guys on TV have 10,000 hour at all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it's also unfair. Like, I cover college basketball. It's no secret that people that listen to the show, like, there's some really good players that are back to basket guys that literally will not even get a sniff in the NBA anymore.
Yeah.
Now, is that fair? Probably not. But does it matter? No, they don't give a fuck. But my point is, like, as a basketball man, which you are, do you think the trend going to that, where it's pretty much pure analytic, where it's 3-point or layup, do you think that's good for the game, or would you like to see more Joel Embiids or anything like that?
I would like to see a little bit more. I'm not. I'm 39, so I grew up watching real back to the basket players,
yes, same here,
centers, do their thing. I would like to be more of a mixture. I look at this, but I do think we're going to continue to go down. Just strictly
the Heat.
The
Heat just took 50 3-pointers in a playoff game,
and I don't think that's changing. The reason I don't think that's changed is I've gone to some AAU practice over the last couple of years, and you remember, like, when we grew up, if there was a tall guy, he was on the other court with the other tall guys working on post moves.
Yeah,
we were over here doing our
guard stuff.
Yeah, and so everybody's doing the same drills. Everybody's doing the guard.
Yeah, that's the European model.
Okay,
and it's come over to the States, but anyway.
Okay,
I agree.
Well, that's all I'm seeing, and there's no post moves from me, not even from the tall ones.
Yeah,
everybody's ball handling. Everybody's shooting threes. Everybody's working on pick and roll, pick and pop for everybody. And so I like the versatility. I don't like Kareem. Kareem did say one thing. He was like, man, I was I'm number one in scoring, but he said I think I shot 12 threes in my career. He was like, I could shoot.
Yeah.
But I wasn't given that. It wasn't even an option.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No, 12,
and so
that's crazy.
I like being able to allow people to expand their games if they have it in them, but don't take away such a potent weapon, which can be the back to the basket game.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I like versatile players, obviously, but I think, like, it gets to be where it's like Bubba Chuck, it's just throw up threes, and you kind of look at the game. Like I said, the Heat were 20 of 50, and they shot 50 fucking threes in a playoff game, and they lost. Yeah. But it's pure analytic now. So, like, I'm sitting there going, like, Joel Embiid's the only back-to-the-basket guy really in the league. And I'm like, so, like, if you're...
What about Joker?
Yeah, but he passes and faces up.
Okay.
And he shoots the 19-foot geese, you know what I'm saying? You've seen that. So, I mean, like, it's literally one guy. My only point is like, are we taking away a position in basketball that's forever going to disappear? I still like watching it. I'm not sitting here, I don't like watching it. I just want to know from a basketball man, what's your opinion on it?
And this is why, Adam, like, over the last 4 or 5 years, you've seen the big man's value decrease in the NBA. Like, look at free agency. Like, I remember 2015, the year of the big spike. And Timothy Mozgov got this big old deal with the Lakers. Bismack Biyombo got this big deal in Orlando. And those guys are minimum guys now. Yeah. Even if they were still in their prime, they're minimum guys now. JaVale McGee can't get, he's struggled with this last couple of years because, but to your point, the big man will be valued again. I don't know about the dominant post-up big man, but the big man will be valued again. Like, I think with Rudy Gobert, Joker, Joel Embiid dominating, doing their thing, that's going to serve the big man well because now other teams going to look like, okay, they're going to look at,
rim protector.
I need rim protector.
Okay.
I need somebody to guard him.
Yeah.
I need somebody,
Yeah.
And so that helps.
Well, it's one of those things where, it's a copycat league. So, like, let's say there's another Ayton or something, he's a good player for the Suns, and they win a championship with him. Then they'll be like, well, it's back to the best. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what has to happen. But I've always been curious on guys who cover the league, guys who consume the league, and have the old school thought that you do that played before that. Is like, what is your thought on this? Because, I mean, I do like high scoring games, but sometimes I watch it, but like, fuck, I wish I was still playing now with this space floor.
I told you that. Man.
Chucking that shit up, you know what I mean? Like, holy fuck, man.
I said that to you last time we talked, I was talking to James Jones last night because I was in Phoenix, and I was saying, dude, you'll be perfect for this era right now. Just be able to have that freedom. Yeah. And it's not because before you remember, like, even your situation. I had to guard threes that like posted up and stuff. You couldn't get on the floor because they said you couldn't play D.
Defense, I know.
They don't give a damn about D.
Defense.
You got no disrespect to Duncan Robinson, but he ain't locking nobody down out there. This what I do like though. We're utilizing
skill.
Yeah, your skill.
Yeah.
Your skill set.
I agree.
And that's it. That's what we should be doing. Stop trying to knock and look at every hole or every deficiency that player has. Use what they have.
Yeah.
And go with it.
Okay, let's segue into a couple more things. I appreciate the time, man.
Good, man.
How'd you get, you said you did a little bit with the Comcast Sportsnet when you first started on the TV stuff, but how did you walk into you earned it, wrong phrase, the TNT sideline stuff? Like, because you're good at it, and this episode's going to air in a week, but your mask on last night was up to your eyeballs, man. That shit. So what the hell? What's this? What's my man doing? Like, what's he hiding from, man?
My mask. He wanted his own airtime, man. He wanted his airtime.
So how'd you get into that?
I'll work on that. I'm gonna be brutally honest with you, Adam. I did not think much of sideline reporting. I didn't think it added much value.
Yeah,
because a lot of them, not all of them. I gotta respect David Aldridge, person who I first saw do it as a kid, Peter Vesey.
Yeah,
back in the day.
Yeah.
Stephanie Reddy, Allie LaFour.
Stephanie was our
in Charlotte.
In Charlotte,
yep. In Charlotte.
Yep.
Great ones. But a lot of them that I've seen is like they just, when they got on, they just repeated the same stuff that we already heard.
Yeah.
And I just think it added value. And so TNT just hit me up. Man, they hit me. It reminded me similar to how I got the Portland gig. Like TNT, I'm pretty sure my agent was working them behind the scenes, but I just got a call from Tara August of Turner, and she's like, "Hey, we're thinking about starting, because they were starting a new Tuesday night slate of games.
Oh, okay.
They're familiar with just Thursday nights.
Yeah.
Then there's the Tuesday night crew with Dwayne Wade, Candace Parker, Shaq, Adam Lefkoe, and so and we're thinking about we want you as a sideline reporter, and I'm like, what? And Adam, it's totally like that. I've never done anything like that.
Yeah.
Never. I've done Sports Center. That's nothing. Like,
yeah, you're on Undisputed all the time.
That's nothing. That's in studio.
Yeah.
Around 3-4 people.
Yeah.
Not in a game with all 20,000.
And it's not usually not live, right?
It's not.
Or
no, they're live.
Yeah,
they're live, but it's nothing. It's like here.
Yeah,
I'm talking to you. This is nothing.
Yeah.
You know, TV and like when we're doing this, I know a lot of people are going to watch this. Mm-hmm. Just like if I'm on FS1, if I'm on when I was on Sports Center, I know a lot of people are watching, but I don't see them.
Yeah, that's good. That's
different. I don't see them.
Yeah.
When you're there on the court and TNT has the biggest games, you got 20,000 fans screaming. You on the court, they're looking at you right there. And then I also know, obviously got millions of fans watching. There's nothing like it. So anyway, I went ahead, but I was like, So when she offered it to me, I was like, I don't, I'm a real reporter. Mm-hmm. I break news. I get, exclusives. That's what I do. And they were like, so I was kind of concerned because I didn't think silent reporters did anything of real news substance. Yeah. And she was like, no, we want you to be yourself. We want you to break news on there. We want you to, the conversations you have with LeBron or the biggest stars, like bring those to light. That's what we want. And when she told me that,
it's like that.
I was like, oh my goodness.
Oh, good.
I'll take it. And that's what I try to do. Like, so whenever I come on, whenever it's time for me to give a report on TV, I'm not giving you no fluff stuff you heard. Like, I want to give you some boom. Like, whoa, did you hear what Chris said? I want to add to the broadcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I'm working on it. I'm still trying to get better. I'm not a pro. Obviously, I let my content do the work, but I'm still trying to get better and everything. And look, man, you listening to people talk in your ear when you're on camera. Like, I'm still learning that stuff. So sideline reporting, I gain a new respect for everybody who does it. Under those circumstances. Adam, I want to say this, man. I was thinking about this yesterday with my wife, man. I grew up. I'm from Fresno, so we don't got no NBA team. We don't have. Not associated with, like, I didn't grow up in LA or Chicago where you have a bunch of pro players that always come back to the city. And so you're kind of connected to those pro sports leagues. Didn't have any of that. When we grew up, Sunday morning NBA games were the big thing. Like, those were the big.
Like, that's the best.
That was the.
John Tesh, recorded that at a dinner. Okay, he came up with that theme song. It was John Tesh, 99% sure. At a dinner, he called his own home phone and sang it so he wouldn't forget it.
Wow.
And then
that was it.
Yes. Okay. Anyway, keep going.
Wow.
Yes.
NBC.
Yes, the best. I love when they do it at the warm-ups.
They do.
Because all the old guys were like, "Fuck yeah!" Like, I was the same way. Grew up. That shit came on. It was Bulls, Phoenix,
Knicks,
Houston, Knicks. And you're just like, man, fuck yeah. But anyway, keep going. Sorry.
So I grew up, and that was like, wow, this is the NBA. Mm-hmm. Wow, that was just big. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever imagine that I would be
part of that. That's
right?
Fucking awesome, man. That really is.
It really, so cool. I swear to God, Adam, like, I thought about that yesterday because that was the first time I did sidelines in a while. It was last night. And I was like, man, I'm a part of this shit. Like,
it's part of the experience. It's unbelievable. It's so cool, man. That's awesome.
Like,
for real.
Man, man, I don't take none of this for granted, man. Like,
That's awesome. Like, for real, you're good at it. I want to cover one more topic, and it has to do with the sideline and everything. And you mentioned a little bit earlier about social media. So, talking about young writers or people trying to get to where you're at, and you just went over your whole story, and it's nothing but grind, building relationships, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, all that shit. Like, you understand that. How much is, like, nowadays your total brand, instead of just being like a columnist, matters? Because you've talked about value. Everything you do, you say it added value to your brand. How much do you think, like, do you have to be multifaceted if you want to make it in this game where Chris is on Undisputed? Chris can break the scoop with LeBron. Chris can do TNT. He can obviously write. How much do you think that stuff matters, or can you survive just being like a really good writer and getting on with a good, whatever publication?
So I'll say this.
Okay.
With social media now, be able to create your own blogs, a YouTube channel, there are other avenues in which you can get, have your work be seen and be discovered. But I still think for the majority of journalists, I wanted to be, when I first got in it, when I first got that job from Portland, that's all I wanted to do was be a beat writer. I made it. You see where a little bit where I came from.
Yeah.
Like, I made it.
Yeah.
I made it in life. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
Then over the years, other opportunities were presented to me. Like, I really didn't. I wanted to become a national. That was another thing, but I didn't really.
Your main goal wasn't that from the beginning to seek out.
Yeah, seek out branding, to seek out being a TNT reporter or being on a debate show with Skip and Shannon.
Mm-hmm.
Those opportunities presented themselves, and I did it. People like it, and I continue to do it. This is what I will say. People always come up, hey, I want to be Stephen A. I want to be Skip Bayless.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't know Stephen A. for like 20 years
was just a writer.
Was a writer.
Yeah, he was just a writer.
Skip Bayless, 30 years, just a writer.
Yeah.
So all these people, unless you're an athlete, but mostly all of these people you see on TV, journalist background, because you have to have that credibility first.
Yeah.
Because Stephen A. always say that. He'll when he gets mad, he'll bring up, I worked here.
Yeah.
He always bring, I worked here in Louisville. I did this and that, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and it's right. But you got to build some, so people want to just get on YouTube and have a take. Everybody can have a take, but it's not a credible take because you ain't been around. You ain't been in locker rooms. Nobody knows you. Yeah. Players don't know you. You don't have any sources.
Yeah.
So once you establish yourself as a journalist, in which Stephen A. did, Skip Bayless did. Now, you can feel however way you want to feel about them now, but they put in the work before.
They grinded.
To get to that point. And same way with myself.
Yeah.
I didn't seek those things, but it was my credibility and my work that got me in the doors of other avenues. So I would tell people, now, look, we're seeing, like I said, we're seeing YouTube sensations and people on TikTok create a brand for themselves.
Yeah, but that's not long lasting, in my opinion.
I don't think so. I think there has to be something of substance.
Yes.
I think you need to, if you want to be in the media, in this profession, I think it would bode well for you to really take this seriously and get in the trenches. And when I mean get in the trenches, that get to become journalism 101.
Yeah.
Find out what it's about. Mm-hmm. Can I tell you about social media real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
This bothers me. This really bothers me. So, the way we grew up out of it, and that's funny. We keep talking about we're not that guy that get off my lawn guy, but I guess we're getting to that point, man. I'm sounding more like him, but the way we were brought up and raised, man. If you were going to talk shit to somebody, you understood that there were consequences,
and you better be ready to back it up.
You better be ready to back it up. And what social media has done, because at first I was like, the younger generation don't understand that because they just were raised in social media, and so they can just spout off and say whatever they want, and no accountability.
Yeah.
But then I was like, nah, because I started looking at some of my tweets, and so I'm gonna give you a little insight. So I did not vote. Julius Randle got 98 of 100 first place votes for most improved player. I didn't have him on my ballot.
Okay.
And I see you wincing in your face. I didn't have him on ballot.
Okay.
Now, I stand by my vote. The reason I didn't have him on my ballot, he averaged 24 and 9 this year. His second best year was 2 years ago, 21 and 6.
Oh.
To me, I've seen this already.
Yeah.
He's done this. Is he a little bit better? Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is he most improved? I tend to look at, and it's all about, I guess, how you evaluate it, but I tend to look at who took that big jump from somebody average 8 to 18.
You're like a fringe rotation to like a rotation guy now.
I had Jeremy Grant as my number one.
Okay.
I had Jeremy Grant.
Makes sense.
I had Michael Porter Jr. too, and I had Chris Boucher in Toronto. I believe Julius Randle averaged 23 times in his career.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think of it like that.
Like most improved. He has a better team. He has a better coach. The coach he's up there coach of the year.
Yeah. Tibbs, yeah, absolutely.
So
no question.
So with that, I got a whole bunch of people dogging me. I mean, dogging is being disrespectful. You bitch, you all, all that type of stuff.
The dumb shit.
And they're men that's older than us.
Yeah, I hate that shit.
And I'm like, and so I went back to, I don't respond. I don't do that. But I did on this one on Instagram. I responded. I said, listen, sir. I said, you can, have a problem with my vote. Mm-hmm. But I said, as a man, and I capitalized man, I said, as a man, don't you think if you would have said that to another man in their face, don't you think there would be consequences behind this?
Yeah.
I said, now as a man, I'm coming to you to tell you that I appreciate you looking at my ballot, but as a man, please refrain from doing that because, let's and he hit me back and he was like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't do that, blah blah blah. Yeah, but the thing is, we gotta stop this social media. Like as men, grown ass men,
yeah. Well,
we don't do anything on social. Don't say anything on social media that you wouldn't do publicly in front of that individual's face.
Do you hate I do, is the pile-on shit that we have nowadays to, like it was talking about LeBron earlier and that's kind of what I was referring to. Like, I think people just sometimes hate him just because it's fun to pile on. Like, and that's, people, and that's part of it too, is people like, you pussy or whatever. And then it would happen to me, Chris. Mm-hmm. Guys would give me shit, you bum, bust, whatever. And then I know for a fact I'd see him at the bar. Hey man, can I have a picture with you?
All the time. Hey man, they've never.
What's up, man?
They've never came into your face.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you're like, I know what you've said about me, and like, you weren't even honorable mention in high school, man. Shut your fucking mouth.
And that's why.
But I'm not going to say that.
Exactly. You can't say that.
Can't say that.
You can't say it. And that's why, Adam, like sometimes I'll hop in their DMs after I seen them being disrespectful, and I'll be like, hey, bro, thanks for checking me out. And then they'll respond back, I can't believe you responded back. Like and Adam, that goes to my point. Remember I was telling you about earlier, like they don't look at, you're a public figure. Mm-hmm. Public figures, they don't look at you as human beings.
No, that's a good point.
Because they don't see you. You're not human beings to them. So when you respond back to them, like to them, they're just shooting something out you. They don't even think you're going to see it.
Yeah.
And they don't think, you know what I mean? Like that's so they have to understand. So that's my point when I stepped into this profession, that you guys have families. You guys are dealing with things in life other than basketball.
Absolutely.
And so I wanted to be cognitive of that. And also be sensitive to that. And me coming and just not knowing what you're going through, just shoving a mic in your face is not going to be helpful for me.
Yeah.
Sure,
well, like I said, and when I first met you, that energy and vibe you gave off was apparent, and you can see why your success has gotten to where you have been, or where you're going, or you get what I'm saying.
I appreciate it, bro.
So this is a good way to end the show, man. Again, listen to your story. This is why I wanted to have you on. It wasn't just NBA content. I just wanted you to come on here and say, who do you think is going to win the Bucks in the Heat series? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's all.
But like, I wanted to tell people, like, your story's like, pretty amazing, cause and effect, grind, being ready, and doing it the right way. And so I really appreciate you taking the time, man. You've always been good to me. So it's cool that we've kept in touch, you know what I'm saying? Man. It's about relationships, man. It's like we want, and even when people step in, people leaving high school, step into the real world and have time to get jobs, relationships are key. Networking is key. It is key. You never know who will be in a position of power, who can say something to somebody else, and they'll come hire you or look at you. And the thing with me, I couldn't promise. Like, I didn't know if I was making the right decision to come to Portland. I didn't know any of that. But what I did was I worked and I put myself in position to where people saw me. Mm-hmm. And they said, oh, okay, that's quality work. And I did that. And I'm still put a bow on this part, but when I'm talking about my writing, when I first started writing for Comcast Sportsnet, we didn't have an editor. Oh, shit.
And so my stuff would go directly on the website. And that's when I really experienced the trolls. Then the comment, because we had the comment section.
Yeah.
The comment section was killing. Sure. You can't write. How'd you get this job? My 3rd grade son writes better than that. And I'm gonna be brutally honest. They were right. When I first started off, Adam, my content was so good because I was able to get guys one-on-one.
Yeah.
I was able to break stories, but I had a hard time relaying it properly in a structural manner, in written form.
Yeah.
And so that killed me. I was so scared. And we would have people look over it like hours later, but damage was done. It's all in the comments. And that was that was tough.
How'd you improve on that? Did you reach out to like English professors and stuff like that? You know what I mean?
I would have, people that I respected, try to look over my work. But at the same time, they're not hired. I'm not hiring them to do that.
Yeah.
So they got, life of their own.
Yeah.
They got time to look at every single story. I got to write 2-3 times a day.
Yeah.
But what it did was it made me, those comments and what those people did was it made me work and focus on a little better. And they didn't know, like, I only had a half a year of a writing course, under my belt.
Exactly.
And another thing too, a lot of it was jealousy, Adam, because in our profession, you have a lot of longtime journalists who were laid off. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm trying to be gentle, but
you can say whatever you want on my podcast. It was for real. I say fuck all the time, and it doesn't matter. Say whatever you want.
It was I got a lot of backlash early on from respected journalists that I grew up reading. Yeah, I looked up reading, and they, I heard they were talking shit about, he can't write, he can't do this, he can't do that, and he shouldn't have this job. They should have hired somebody else, and he got laid off, and they hired this guy, and he should, and that bothered me. But this is the thing: my writing obviously got better because I wouldn't have been able to advance like I did.
Yeah.
But this is what I would say to them and fans: that my writing wasn't up to par, and yes, Comcast did take a chance on me. But I'm gonna tell you what: none of you writers, none of you fans could have got the content that I was able to get. Oh. So you can be an excellent writer, know how to dot your I's, cross your T's, put together the perfect sentence structure, but you have zero content. None of the players will talk to you. Yeah. None of the agents will talk to you. None of the you gotta, and in this field, Adam, it is so beneficial to be able to hold a conversation.
Oh, absolutely.
So a lot of people, especially in this day and age, man, they social media is so big. Yeah. That's how they communicate.
They talk. They're better at texting than they are talking to your face. Absolutely.
It's so much better. So I was able to get better, and those people, that pushed me. But no, that was a really discouraging time for me.
Well, again, Chris, I really appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Of course, I got a lot off, man. I got a lot off. This is a therapy session.
No, this stuff's cathartic, man. It really is, man. This is why I enjoy it. This is why I like doing it in person. So, again, your busy schedule. You're covering the Lakers, Suns. You saying off air, you got the Lakers throughout the whole thing. So hopefully they keep advancing. And like I said, man, your story's fantastic. I appreciate you sharing it.
Thank you, bro.
Because it's cause and effect. I really believe in that stuff. I believe in grinding. I believe in being ready, putting the extra work, looking at yourself in the mirror, and being honest with yourself about your own abilities.
Can you believe this, man? The guy who did not want to give anybody an interview is now interviewing. So look at this, man.
It's crazy how this shit works. It's crazy how this shit works. But again, man, I appreciate it. Do you want to plug your podcast real quick?
Yeah, Posted Up Podcast on Yahoo Sports. You can find it on all podcast platforms, and
follow Chris on Twitter. He's a great Twitter and Instagram as well. It's fantastic. He's fun to watch on sideline as well, but his content's really good, obviously, because he has relationships and he gets the scoops. So, yeah, again, man, I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you for having me, brother.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Good times, man. All right. If you enjoyed this episode of The Perimeter, make sure to go check out Sack and Jack, featuring 2 Zag alums, one from the court, Robert Sackery, one from the booth, Jack Ferris. That's Sack and Jack. Find it wherever you listen to podcasts. The Perimeter with Adam Morrison is brought to you in partnership with Speak Studios and Mercedes of Spokane.